I am praying one day that we have, Venerable John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, or,
Mm, mm, mm,
Blessed. Do you think
mm.
that could ever be a possibility? What are your thoughts on that? He was such a devout Catholic.
Certainly was, daily mass goer. It was deep in his, well, it was as deep as his love for his mother, because you know how he says that
Yeah.
she, in his view, she really gave her life for her faith. Remember that how she and her sister both came into the Catholic Church against fierce opposition
Mm.
from the family, which was not Catholic, and unwillingly her sister succumbed and withdrew, but his
Yeah.
mother never did. And because of the poverty that ensued when the family wouldn't support her and her husband was already deceased, he was convinced that she died much younger than she would have otherwise because of that. So it's as deep as,
Yeah.
I've often thought about this, that here is this woman that is unknown by the world. Mabel, I think her name was, his mother
Yes, Mabel
name.
Tolkien. Yeah,
Um,
Mabel.
and she comes to believe in the truth of the Catholic faith, and against all odds and with great courage and paying a real personal price, she's faithful to that.
Mm.
And then her life ends, and in a sense, you want to say she disappears. But because of her fidelity, look what's happened. You and I wouldn't be having this conversation right
No,
now if it hadn't
true.
been for her fidelity. And that includes the millions of readers who have read and benefited from this book written by this faithful Catholic. Because to me, it's a powerful reflection on the unseen, in the moment at least, fruitfulness of just hidden fidelity. And she's
Friends, a quick commercial. I hope you're enjoying this conversation about the Lord of the Rings with Father Gallagher. Just so you know, this July 16th to the 25th, we are going to England. We are going to visit the places and spaces that Tolkien himself walked and taught in and lived in, not to mention C.S. Lewis and G.K. Chesterton. We will be going to London, to Stonehenge, to Oxford, to the kilns where C.S. Lewis and his brother Warren lived and where Narnia was written. We will visit Oxford University, as I mentioned. We'll spend time also prayerfully at the graves of Tolkien and his wonderful wife, Edith. We will explore the home of G.K. Chesterton. We will walk the Cotswolds, this beautiful sort of medieval English village. We're going to have a wonderful time reading the stories of Lewis and Tolkien and Chesterton, enjoying pubs and places of prayer. And if you want to learn more about this great trip coming up, go to tobpilgrimages.com.
and she's a wonderful, maybe she's the one that should be, we should take another look at her. But
That's a
as
good
regards
point.
Tolkien, as regards Tolkien, if by their fruits you shall know them, well, it's pretty hard to argue with the goodness of his life. And not too many lives have had such a widespread influence for good as his life has and will continue to have, as far as we can see, for the foreseeable future as well. So I'll leave in the hands of the church the decisions about initiating causes and so on. But what we can
Yeah,
certainly say is that he was such a faithful Catholic, and his life has proved a blessing in an extraordinary way for the world.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
one more thing has come to mind as you've been speaking,
Sure.
and about Tolkien and his gift. To my mind, one of the most moving things, I almost want to say the most, but I'll put almost in there, that he ever wrote was his short story, Smith of Wootton Major,
Mm.
which is essentially, it's a story about himself in older age when he knows that it's time to surrender the gift, and to pass it on to others. And um, you can't, if you love Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings at all, and you have any small idea of what he's doing in that story, it's to my mind, I've read it and reread it. It's one of the most powerfully moving things. It's
Mm.
an author who knows that his gift to write as he's written was received. It was something that was given to him, and he's faithfully exercised it. And it's time now for him to surrender it as his life is drawing to a close. And then, but not simply to surrender it, but to pass it on to the next person who will continue to exercise that gift. So I just want to put that in there. I was really happy to see some years ago that somebody wrote a book about that story. And I said, oh, somebody else saw it. It's and there's the original manuscript and all that what this author does on it. But I'll just put in a word for that story, which I find very powerful.